Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and first up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men House of X Wolverine. So this is the Tri-Sentinel Build-A-Figure wave. Wolverine, of course, being the 7th figure in the wave, does not have a Sentinel Build-A-Figure piece because it is Wolverine. He will naturally sell on his own without the added perk of getting a Build-A-Figure piece to go along with it because, again, it is Wolverine. It is a typical Wolverine figure, so nothing too exciting about it, but we do get a couple of new head sculpts, which is cool. But other than that, again, it's still just another Wolverine figure. I mean, some parts can kind of get switched around between some of them, but they're all basically the same. It's Wolverine. He's an awesome character, so it's a nice addition to the Wolverine collection, which is massive by now. That I'm only going to show one comparison, which is going to be the other brown suit, because brown suit, we'll see what's the same, what's different between the two. One thing about this particular wave, though, which is awesome, is the House of X theme to the packaging. Just looks really cool. So we get some Krakoan wording down there. I believe it's Krakoan. The X-Men logo there in the front. We get that logo there, up there on the top. The side artwork looking really awesome. We also get the House of X logo there, and it says Wolverine. Each figure in the wave will have, you know, which character is there on the side. Since we don't actually get it in the front like we normally would, we get it there on the side. There on the back of the package, we get some comic artwork of this version of Wolverine there. The bio reads, with an adamantium claws unleashed, Logan is prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice in the fight for freedom for all mutants. So pretty interesting. You can see here there are 7 figures in the wave to build the Tri-Sentinel, which is the Theta Sentinel, but I guess Tri-Sentinel, they just kind of went with that, but this Sentinel is specifically the Theta Sentinel. So there is the package. Let's get right to it and open it up. Okay, there is the Wolverine figure out of the package, and there's not really a whole lot going on with this guy. Very minimal on the accessories. We are really skimped out, but I would say that across the wave, we get more accessories than we probably normally do with most waves, especially with X-Men waves, because what was the last X-Men wave that we got? The damn Age of Apocalypse, which had like 0 accessories completely. So Wolverine kind of gets that same treatment. You know, he gets the interchangeable head, but overall in this wave we do get more accessories, which is pretty cool. So let's zoom in and take a look at the 2 different heads that we get. Okay, so actually out of the package, this is the head that actually comes on the figure already. It's kind of a smiling Wolverine head. It looks really good. One thing that I really like is the texture of the mask cowl. As you can see, there's a kind of a line there, and then we actually get some wrinkles right at the back of his head. So that is a little bit of a nice touch. You know, these flared out parts don't come out too far, kind of like the old, I think this is the Juggernaut wave. It could be the retro one, but I think it's the Juggernaut wave, but you can see, you know, they're a lot shorter, not as pointy. There's a little bit of a curve to them. So this head sculpt looks pretty good. He also comes with this additional head sculpt with just kind of a straight face, and then you can see there he's got a little bit of a beard going on, and it's done in a great color. And again, we kind of get that same textured look to the cowl, which is kind of nice. And we also get these lines. Focus those lines there, that's pretty cool. And then we'd also get the wrinkles in the back, so it's kind of a nice touch that it looks a little bit textured, so that is really cool. And that's it for the accessories, just the 2 interchangeable heads. I do want to talk about the claws, because we actually get those bigger claws than the crappy ones that we used to get with all the Wolverine figures, and they're a nice silver color as opposed to the cheap ass plastic looking color. So that is kind of nice. It's hard to tell if they're actually painted silver or if just the plastic color itself is a better color than like the white crap that we got before. It looks silver, even though it might just be a gray plastic. So that is a huge improvement there. So I actually really like these claws so much more than the shitty ones that we got there before. And look, out of the package, they're straight. I didn't have to straighten these out or do anything to them. So definitely a higher quality than what we've gotten before. Okay, and then one thing I wanted to show you guys with these claws are actually new. They are not the same as the X-Force claws from the Wendigo wave? I think this was the Wendigo wave. So if you look at these claws, they were done in the shit like white plastic, almost translucent color, and you can see that those claws are very thick. Now the new ones are not as thick, so they are not the same claws, but these new ones we get a nice silver color to them. So new claws again, and I think these ones are awesome. These ones were my favorite, but they do look, you know, pretty exaggerated and large, you know, coming out of his hand and his forearm. Probably a little too big, whereas these ones aren't as big, but do kind of have that same shape to them. They're not as flared out. So these ones are now my new favorites. I think they're just, you know, happy medium between the shit original ones and these ones. So a nice compromise and in between. So these ones look really good. I know I said I was only going to do the one comparison to the one brown suit Wolverine. However, this Wolverine is basically the same as this X-Force Wolverine. We have different heads, of course, and then the belts are different. Other than that, it's the same exact figure. So same boots, same feet, same gloves, same forearms. So it's basically the same figure, just painted a little bit differently. So if you want to have, you know, kind of the best idea of what this figure is all about, if you have this X-Force one, you know exactly what it's all about. So let's zoom in and take a look at some of the details. There's one thing about this figure that does actually really bother me, and it's being probably super nitpicky, but once you see it, it's kind of like, well, what the hell? So I'm going to zoom in, we'll take a look at that. Okay, so here is the Wolverine figure. Now, one thing that I've talked about that I've hated on some older Wolverine figures, and that I've liked on some of the newer ones, is the arm hair. So we do get the painted on arm hair that is done nicely, and this one's kind of, we got some scraggly lines there, and it's done kind of all over his arm. Not the inside, of course, at all. The hair doesn't grow nearly as much there, but we do get some there, and then we get some on the little bit of forearm that you can see from the outside of the glove. The brown suit before, there was no arm hair, and I always hated that. And then like the X-Force one, we got some, but it's just kind of these straight lines right there. So this one looks a little bit more realistic on the arm hair. One thing that I don't like though is that the forearm is done in the brown plastic, and so the skin tone is painted on, and I don't think it looks very good because you get a lighter color over a darker color, and sometimes it just doesn't quite look right. And so because of that, we get a darker skin tone there, and it kind of ends up looking shiny. That is a little bit of a nitpick, but that isn't even the thing that I was kind of referring to that really bothered me. So the thing about it is looking at the shoulder ball there. So the skin tone, the large muscle into the smaller shoulder ball, that kind of always bothered me, but it was never that big of a deal. But now, because that shoulder ball, so his suit would just stop. It's just a straight line there and looks kind of funky. Now, looking at the other Wolverine figures, so look at that shoulder ball there, look at that shoulder ball here. And notice they actually painted some of the skin tone to actually show that the suit only goes so far down his arm. So that's pretty realistic looking and makes sense, right? So when you have the arm and you're looking at it, the arm will continue and then we go to the suit. The problem is on this new one, it just stops. And to me, it just doesn't look, there's something off about it. And it's just because, you know, we get a painted part and then just the skin tone part, and it just goes right into it. Whereas you have the curve. I don't know. It's just weird. It's super nitpicky and probably a really dumb complaint, but it's something that I would point out because all the other Wolverine figures, the shoulder ball was painted as part of the arm, and then this one just isn't. So it's just one of those things that's throwing me off. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of it. For me, it's just an odd choice. Not that big of a deal, but it's noticeable, and I'm just going to constantly be looking at that shoulder ball now. But I know it's really not that big of a deal. So now let's zoom out for his articulation. Well, actually, let's take a look at the rest of the figure. The yellow over the brown is done nicely. It's not too bad. The colors tend to match. Boots are done in a light brown, which matches the gloves and the forearms there. So not a whole lot going on for the figure, but there he is. So now let's zoom out for his articulation. Okay, so Wolverine's articulation, he can look all the way down. He can look up quite a bit, so that is really good. Of course, you get the full rotation in there. You get a little tiny bit of neck pivot going on, not a huge amount. The arms, you can get that arm to go straight out like so. You get a full rotation, of course, and we do have the butterfly joint, so you can get the shoulder arm to go back that far. You can get it to come forward and crossbody a little bit going on there. We have the upper bicep swivel there. You get a double jointed elbow like so, which gives you a little bit about 90 degrees there or so. The huge swole bicep there kind of hinders that, but you know, solid 90 degrees. He can crunch forward that far on the ab. Going back, he can go back that far, which is pretty good. We have a waist swivel in there. The belt is just a floating piece. And one thing about the belt that I do like is there actually has some leathery texture to it. So that is a little bit of a nice touch there. Legs go out that far apart only. He can kick forward pretty high, as you can see there. Going back a little bit as well. You have an upper thigh cut there. You get a solid double jointed knee like so. There is no boot swivel on this guy, so no boot swivel. X-Force did not have boot swivel on him either. This guy does with those pointy ass boots, but no boot swivel on this guy. Foot hinges down that much. There's like no hinge going up because the top of the boot hits one of those straps there on the shin, so you're not going to hinge it up, but nice ankle pivot there and a peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So again, same as the X-Force figure, so you guys should know what to expect with this figure. They don't change anything to it. It is the exact same of what we have seen before. Okay, now people ask about this type of stuff all the time. I don't typically do it, but I will do some head swaps. So here we have the old brown suit Wolverine. So we're going to pop that head off and we're going to see if the new heads can fit onto the old Wolverine body. And I know that they do. The ball peg is the same, but it's just a matter of kind of fitting it on there. So there it does fit, as you can see there. The browns do not match because we got a much darker brown on this Wolverine, and the cowl has a lighter brown color there. And then so if anybody is interested, the old head on maybe this new body to see, because in case you know you missed out on the brown suit Wolverine in the Juggernaut wave and the vintage wave 1, maybe this is what you want to kind of go for on a brown suit Wolverine if you happen to have one of the other Wolverine heads, and it looks like that, and that does look pretty good there. I don't like this look so much, but that one I don't mind. So there are the head swaps. Okay, so my final thoughts on the figure. It is a good Wolverine release. It is not my favorite Wolverine figure, but it is definitely a solid release, and I really do like these new claws that we have. But this figure is lacking in accessories. We don't get additional interchangeable hands, so we can have like standard fists or open hands or anything like that. But it is a solid Wolverine figure, and it's nice that we get another X-Men themed wave. Will we continue to see themed waves with like Spider-Man waves, perhaps? That would be pretty interesting to see, but X-Men, it seems to be getting that treatment first with the Age of Apocalypse themed wave, and now the House of X themed wave. There is another X-Men wave that's going to be coming out later this year. What that wave is going to be, is it going to be an Age of Apocalypse wave 2, or who knows how that's going to work out? Fingers crossed. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of this Wolverine figure. What do you think that next wave of X-Men Legends will be? If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.